Hey everyone, welcome back to Breakthrough Innovation, where we uncover what it really takes to lead change, create value, and build what's next. I'm JL Heather, here with my co-host Preston Chandler. Together we lead Centered, a firm that helps organizations navigate complexity, spark creativity, and unlock the full potential of their teams through innovation coaching and strategy. Today's guest is someone who brings deep corporate experience and transformational clarity to one of the toughest arenas in business, change. Sarena Diamond is the founder and CEO of Diamond Solutions Group, a consultancy that turns what if into way to go for leaders navigating growth, complexity, and transformation. After decades of senior leadership at IBM, Accenture, and PepsiCo, Serena launched her own firm and never looked back. She's a change catalyst, not just managing transformation, but energizing it with purpose, structure, and a powerful mindset she calls the power of and. Serena, welcome to Breakthrough Innovation.
Thank you so much. What a great introduction. Really appreciate it. Yeah,
No
we're glad to
problem.
have you. Happy to be
So
here.
I'm excited. I love this concept of the power of and that you talk about. And you look at it more as a mindset for navigating transformation. So I'm curious, like, what does that phrase mean to you? And how does it change the way leaders approach high stakes change?
So one of the things that early in my journey of entrepreneurship, I was struggling with one channel mindset, thinking about one way, one approach, one client at a time, one thing to be done. And actually, it was a mentor of mine who asked me, why did I keep asking or? I was saying, well, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. What about and? And it was a simple question. And when I've reflected it back on her, sometimes she remembers the conversation. She doesn't remember it being such a monumental change for me, but it was such a big point. Because all of a sudden I started looking at things as plus one, additive. How else could we be doing this? How could I accumulate more experiences or more opportunities? I turned that from being focused on growing my business into how do I help leaders take that same mindset into overcoming the challenges that they are struggling with. So too often leaders are struggling with, this is the thing we're going to do. And I will ask them, and what happens? What else? And what else could there be? Early in my career, I used to say that there's always 5 solutions to a problem. One is do nothing, and the other one is going to get you either fired or in jail, right? So let's assume that you've got 3. Now,
So Serena, I love what you're saying, and it always makes me think of this saying, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. It's always
exactly.
amazing to me how often we talk to people who are like, there was this one moment, this person said this one thing, and it just changed my world. They never remember it, but you do. And I think it really kind of leans into kind of the power of leadership and just how showing up in a really constructive and positive and growth mindset can really lead to changes that you never knew happened. Now, I am curious, based on what you're talking about here, when you see change that feels stuck, where do you usually look for that first place to spark momentum?
I almost always get called in when leaders are struggling, right? That things haven't gone the way they expected them to go. And so I often say, well, rather than do let's go back and do everything you've done over again, I ask them, let's look at the way you've communicated. Let's look at what you've communicated. So both model, of what you're saying, but also the way you've been saying it. Inevitably, it's like, well, here's the 16 emails we sent out. And, and I'm always like, when was the last time you read every email, every word, and it really helped you to get on board with whatever that was? It's almost always an unstuck port is, let's look at the way we've communicated a change. Let's look at the way we've helped your team to come along with the why, understanding the purpose of a change, because it always starts with building belief. John Kotter has the 8 steps, and Adkar talks about the 5 steps, and I always add those together and go, okay, now we have 13 things to try and remember how to do, and I break it down for leaders. I'm like, listen, I'm going to give you 3 because you can probably remember 3. You have to build belief. When you've actually built belief in people about what the change is, they see themselves in the vision that you have. they're on board. They may not know how to do it. That's the second step, right? It's always about enabling their behaviors. And if you can enable their behaviors and support them through that, they will take that belief they have and those newfound skills and they will rock it. And then it's always about sustaining that change through reinforcement and recognition and those kinds of culture building things that are so important there.
I'm constantly amazed by how many people look at change management and think that it is, to your point, sending a couple of emails out or making a big deck. And they're like, yeah, we've done change management. Preston, the problem isn't change management. It's something else. I was like, no, the problem is that, to your point, you didn't tell the story enough for them to even believe it. They aren't part of this. You're not including them as part of this. You're just trying to tell them. And yeah, you need to communicate, but it's not the whole thing.
It's not, it's funny. You're absolutely right. I love the moment when I say to leaders, especially senior leaders who said, how long have you been thinking about this? And it's always, oh, I thought about this in my 30s and it's been manifesting in my life and I've been really knowing that I had to do it. And so now it's clear in my 50s. And I'm like, okay, so you've been working on this for 20 years and you sent out 3 emails to your entire organization and you're expecting them to get it. I'm not saying you have to give them 20 years, but you've got to bring them along on the journey, right? You have to help people to see that and to understand the purpose for it. I am a very big believer that people come to work every day with a sense of wonder around what they're going to achieve, right? They're really looking at that, anticipating great things. And if you're a really good leader, you've allowed them the opportunities and the experiences to go home at the end of the day with a sense of accomplishment. Anything more than that is gravy, right? But if you're doing those 2 things, people will change. They will adopt new ways of working. They will follow you and build belief. And you're right. Organizational change is always the last vestige. It's the thing that they remember at the end. Oh yeah, we probably should get people doing something differently with this new system, this new structure. But sometimes it's something so simple as, a new leader, right? You've got a new leader in the organization. And what does that matter? I'm working with a new leader right now that has really good intuition, but doesn't know what she doesn't know. And so she's trying to work through some of those exact things and making sure that she is articulating with intention and bringing people along and building, I know it's overused, but psychological safety amongst her team, right?
Agreed.
It amazes me, Sarena, like how many leaders have this idea in their head that if I just send out the email or I send out this one line of communication, or if I just say it, people will get it. There's this study they did called Tappers and Listeners, where they had people sit together with a list of 10 songs, like nursery rhymes that everyone knew. And one person would tap out the song and the other person would guess. And I've done this at so many different conferences where I ask people, how many would you guess out of 10? And, people will say 5, 4, 3, somewhere in that range. The reality was, though, it was 2.5%. Like we completely overestimate how well we communicate. And it's such a big myth in people's minds that all I have to do is send out the email. All I have to do is have a lunch and learn or something like that. And it's done. Right. I'm curious, so what other myths do you see or hear about in change management or innovation that you wish more leaders would let go of?
I think that there's an awful lot of leadership that is about, I'm going to be the one that knows everything. And I see so many leaders. It really is. There's a basis there that says I've gotten to this point where I'm supposed to know everything, especially now in a day and age of innovations that there is no possible human way that a leader can keep up with. I mean, just look at AI, right? By the time we're done with this podcast, there'll be something new. And I say to leaders all the time, stop trying to be the answer, the solo person that knows everything. Surrounding yourself with people who are smart and who are adaptive and who are change resilient is the most powerful lesson from a leader's perspective. And then having confidence in what you do so that you can allow other people to shine in the same room with you makes everyone better. Those leaders who were able to let go of that, to say, I don't have to have the answers to every question, are those that are willing to say, wow, what John's bringing to the table, what Susan's bringing to the table is making us all better. those are the leaders that I'm seeing continue to grow and expand and have tremendous success. And that's this whole vestige of I'm the leader, I'm supposed to know everything. And you're not. Right? You're supposed to be smart enough to assemble a really smart team.
I think there's also an opportunity here to bring other people along. And when leaders have all the answers, then there's no space for anybody else to participate in this change. JL and I worked with a leader. Gosh, it's been several years ago, and she was ready to make a change in her organization. And she's like, "Well, I have to have all the questions answered, and they're going to ask me these questions, and so I want to put them in a deck." And we counseled her, like, "No, don't put it in the deck. Tell people that you don't know all of the steps. You just know the direction." And I think that made a huge difference for her in her career and the success of her transformation, is because she got the rest of the organization actually participating instead of it just being her vision. What I've learned is it can't be Preston's vision or Serena's vision or JL's vision. We have to find ways to bring other people in.
100%. When you bring them along, they come. Right? If you tell them what to do, they'll do it for a period, but it's not theirs. You're absolutely right. I love that. And I hope that she's continuing to take that advice from you years later.
Yeah, no. I do. It's always interesting to me, the leaders who think, I hire really smart people so I can tell them what to do. When the reality is you hire really smart people so they can tell you what to do.
Exactly.
Right. If you already have all the answers, you're probably not pushing hard enough.
It's so often, and I will say that sometimes I will talk with very frustrated leaders or senior people in an organization, and they're frustrated. And I said, when was the last time you were asked a really good question or asked for your insight? And I had one leader say to me during my interview. And when you think about that, right, you hire these brilliant people and then you don't let them be brilliant, right? You tell them exactly right. So I say get out of the way. Support people and let them shine. Be the socket that they get plugged into, as opposed to the only thing that can shine in the room. Because more people, right? What is that old adage? Many hands make light work, but many brains allow you to keep up with the ongoing rate and pace of change at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sarena, we've talked a lot about your successes. I'm curious, though, what is one challenge in your innovation or change work that you're still wrestling with?
Honestly, it is about impact. For me, I love what I have done, my career, all the experiences and things that I've learned. I am impatient with myself and wanting to help other leaders get smarter and learn from the things that I've learned and the experiences, right? So I think the thing that still challenges me is how to continue to make it easier for leaders to put me and you guys out of a job, right? If every leader was taught how to do change well, they wouldn't need us.
Right.
And that would be the best thing ever, right? If that was a fundamental expectation of a leader, to be able to really, truly navigate change with expertise, that'd be awesome. But for right now, I'm gonna be working until I'm 10,000 years old to make sure that happens.
Agreed.
Well, it's good to have job security, right?
That is true. It is sad in some cases, but yes, it is good to have job security.
Well, I mean, and some of it's just the way humans work as well. But I agree. Now, Sarena, if someone does need support in change management or would like to engage with you, what's the best way for them to get into contact?
Easiest, fastest is LinkedIn. If you spell it correctly, I am the only Sarena Diamond on LinkedIn when it's spelled Sarena, the way my mom intended. But I also have a website, diamondsolutiongroup.llc.com.
Awesome. Sarena, I want to thank you so much for all the time and the insights in this conversation. It's been absolutely fantastic. For everyone else who's made it all the way to the end with us, 1, leave a rating. It helps us a whole bunch. 2, we'd love to hear about your challenges in leading change. Where do you struggle? Where do you see the stumbling blocks? What's the myth that you struggle to let go of? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Sarena, thank you again for all the time. For everyone else, we'll see you next time on Breakthrough Innovation.